Okay everyone, it's been a long day. It's been a very long day. I didn't get much sleep last night, and obviously I've been up most of today following E3 and watching videos and watching everything. And of course, watching the Nintendo Direct, not the press conference, because they didn't of course have a press conference. They had their Nintendo Direct, which was about 40 minutes long. A little bit shorter than I kind of expected. I thought that they were going to go for around an hour. Ended up being around 40 minutes, and a lot of news, a lot of interesting stuff. And I guess that we'll go over it now. We'll jump in and see what they presented, and I guess give you my overall impressions of what I thought of their presentation. I said it was okay. It was good. There were a lot of things which I felt underwhelmed by, and I'll obviously get to that when it happens. But I feel like Nintendo have this agenda with Nintendo Direct anyway, where they aren't really willing to like participate in E3 as much, being like, hey, here's an E3 based Nintendo Direct, but it's not going to be like super hard hitting, because maybe like in 2 weeks time we'll give you another one where we'll announce more stuff, and then another 2 weeks time we'll give you another one. There's kind of their stance with Nintendo Direct now. It's like, I feel like I was more blown away by the 3DS like Link to the Past 2 reveal and stuff like that, and kind of other stuff that's happened earlier this year. The reveal of the Xenoblade sequel, that was a big moment. And it seems like Nintendo are doing this in general. This is their push towards the Nintendo Direct and a release of information across the year, instead of like holding everything back and keeping stuff just for E3. It feels like they're kind of trickling the information out in more directed videos, as you can tell, because it's called Nintendo Direct. So that's that. Lots of big news though, lots of cool stuff that I'm very excited for, so I'm going to be talking about as much of that as I possibly can. I'm trying to get up here a live blog that I was following, and hey, we're kicking it off with Pokemon. Like, I mean, come on, you know, talk about big franchises. Pokemon is right at the top of Nintendo's list. It obviously is the focus of my channel, and obviously there are lots of people who like Pokemon, seeing as it's all over the internet, and people adore the franchise. Especially X and Y is the first 3D Pokemon game. First, well, not technically, because there was Colosseum and XD, Gale of Darkness, but the first handheld 3D Pokemon game, which is very exciting. Certainly a shake-up for the series, and one that I think was really needed, because like a lot of other Nintendo IPs, I think Pokemon does this the worst though, is that it doesn't really change a whole lot. Like, it sticks to a very rigid formula. It's a solid formula, you know. You don't want to really poison the broth, because it's good. It's a good broth. It tastes nice, it's hot, it's fresh. Not really fresh, because that would imply change up, but it's good, it's nice. It's a nice broth to drink from. And I feel like that maybe they're adding some kind of spices here at this point. They're like, you know, further down the line, making it a bit zestier, should we say, and Pokemon X and Y is certainly looking good. I already put a video up on my channel about X and Y news. I like to keep the Pokemon stuff separate from these kind of vlogs, because yeah, it's weird. Pokemon is like a different entity within its own right, because the Pokemon Company is like a different entity as opposed to Nintendo, and Nintendo technically own the franchise, but then the Pokemon Company have a certain degree of control. There's even a Pokemon app on iOS, which is like the weirdest thing, because Nintendo are always saying that they're against that kind of thing, and yet there's a Pokemon app. I'm not sure if that's to do with like Pokemon Company pushing that or what, but you know, there's this weird divide between Pokemon and Nintendo itself. So yeah, I do like to keep that stuff separate in general, just because, you know, it's more directed towards most people on my channel, whereas this is just kind of small audience, but people who care more about the other Nintendo franchises. So that was lots of information there. Obviously we've got the new type, Fairy type, very cool. I think that it's a stupid name. I'm not gonna lie, look, I don't have a problem with them introducing a new type. I think it's a good idea. It's a great way to shake things up a bit more, and having something else to kind of neuter dragons. Apparently it's also immune to dragons, so fairy types are immune to dragon moves, which is fucking great. Like, come on, you switching on like Specs Latios all day. Latios. I was kind of trying to put Latios and Latias into one there, didn't quite work out. But I mean, come on, like, fucking switching into Haxorus is outrage. That's nuts. You could literally switch a Jigglypuff into a Haxorus, a banded outrage Haxorus, and it wouldn't give a fuck. That's pretty hilarious if that turns out to be the case, and it's actually immune. Oh my lord. But yeah, no, why did they call it fairy? I mean, Can you not think of something better? There has to have been some better type name than fairy. It just seems so disconnected from the rest of the types. And lots of people are saying light. Light would be a good idea. I would say, you know, it's a little bit boring, but it's better than fairy. I mean, come the fuck on, guys. That's really not good. Not good at all. But I guess that's what Game Freak want to do. That's what they want to call the type. And then there's these rumors of sound type being a thing as well. Of sound. I honestly think sound's a bit more legitimate than fairy is, because it fits more like in terms of elemental. It's not really an element, but sound is more of an ethereal thing than a fairy. So there were rumors of that going around, so that might turn out to be true. I have no idea. We still have to wait on a lot more Pokemon information, which will come out tonight. That's at 2 AM. What time is it now? It's like 10 AM now. Holy crap. It's 2 AM. I believe there's the Pokemon Roundtable, or Developer Roundtable, something like that. So they'll probably give us some new stuff over there. But a couple new Pokemon introduced. Both look kind of interesting. Bug flying and dragon flying. Got another dragon type. But it's kind of muted now, isn't it? Because Jigglypuff can shit all over it. How about them apples? Noirvern, or whatever its name is. How about them apples? So that should be fun. There's going to be, yeah, loads of Pokemon information coming out, so I'm going to be covering that pretty heavily on the channel, and you should be looking out for those videos, because they'll be coming aplenty. But I guess apart from that, there wasn't really anything else revealed. It was just like the release date. The release date was revealed. That was the big one, October 12th, which I said in my video that's a lot earlier than I expected. But cool, that's fine. Worldwide release. We like to see that. So good. And then moving on from Pokemon, we got into the new 3D Mario game. Now, my feelings on this game have changed throughout the day, quite a bit. So the first reveal of this was, it was zoomed in on Mario's face, and then it zoomed out, and we see an isometric view, which is very similar to Super Mario 3D Land. Just as a caveat, not as a caveat, just as a reference, a point of reference, I love Super Mario 3D Land. It's a fucking fantastic game. It's easily one of the best games on 3DS. Up there with Fire Emblem for me, up there with Luigi's Mansion, like a really stellar title. Absolutely fantastic. So when I see this, my first thought is, are they just announcing a new 3DS game? Because I thought, you know, this is the same world as the 3DS one, and they're just going to be putting this on 3DS. So where's my 3D Mario game for Wii U? And I kept watching the trailer. I'm like, wait a second, this looks a lot shinier and a lot crisper than the 3D Land kind of, or any kind of 3DS game would look. And I certainly slowly come to this realization that Nintendo are saying that their new 3D Mario game, the follow-up to Galaxy, is Mario 3D World. I was like, really? Because this is the thing with 3D Mario, it's always been so different from the 2D stuff. It's always been, you know, you've had 64 Sunshine Galaxy. That has been the progression so far in terms of theme and going through the console generations. And I thought, you know, I didn't think they were going to do Galaxy. I thought that was a bit of a cop-out. And I frankly would have been really disappointed if they'd done Galaxy, because I think they could do much better. Not much better than Galaxy. Galaxy's a fucking great game, but I think that they could implement a different idea as opposed to Galaxy. It's, you know, perhaps not something as earth-shattering as that, because the paradigm shift that they made with the gravity in Galaxy was amazing, and I'm not sure that they can repeat that success twice, but something different, like still in the same, you know, 3D Mario setting, but something different, not Galaxy. I was really expecting that. And then they do this, and they kind of just pull a really weird turn. And this is a thing that I feel was perpetual throughout the entire Direct, was that Nintendo have kind of cottoned on to the fact that 3DS is doing super well. 3DS is doing really well. It has so many great games going for it, and it's selling well, and people are enjoying it, they're lapping it up. And I think they're looking at the success of something like 3D Land, which currently is the best-selling game on 3DS, which I think is a really great thing. New Super Mario Bros. 2 is nowhere near. I think it's like 4 or 5. But 3D Land is at the top. The best-selling 3DS game. I think they look at that and they think, 3DS is doing well. How about we take that and put it on the Wii U? Because then they'll sell copies. Because that's what people like. Because clearly people like the 3DS one, so they're going to like the Wii U one as well, right? And I guess that also stems from the fact that Galaxy didn't sell super well. I believe the first Galaxy sold 10 million, which is good. It's pretty fucking good, but it's not like the Mario Kart Wiis of the world, which fucking eclipsed that type of sales. So I think they feel that it's coming from, I don't know, it seems very cynical. Like, it's coming from a perspective of, we want to sell more here. We don't want to be as creative. We don't want to kind of expand out in the creative sphere and try something different with 3D Mario. We want to stick to the 3DS formula, which apparently has worked well. Let's just go with it. And so that was my initial thoughts were like, this is lazy. This is really lazy. Like, there's some cool stuff, like with the cat stuff, that looks really cool. And then the multiplayer, I don't give a fuck about multiplayer. I want my single-player Mario experience, right? That's what I want. I want a Galaxy. I want a Sunshine. I want one of those. And multiplayer doesn't add anything, you know? It'd be cool if it was online, but knowing Nintendo, this is not going to be online. It's local multiplayer. I'm going to be shocked if it's online. If it's online, then I'll retract my statements. But let's be honest here. Let's be frank. Nintendo don't put online in anything that isn't called Mario Kart. So I am not holding out any hope for that, unfortunately. As great as it would be, I would fucking love that to be online, but it's probably not going to be. Just being cynical, just being realistic here. And that's the problem, I feel, is just having that multiplayer element doesn't really add anything for me, because there will be seldom occasions when I get to use that in a local setting. I'll love it in the local setting, it'll be great, but as I said, I want the single player. And I still can play this single player. I still can play this just as I would Super Mario 3D Land, but I feel like their focus is shifted towards it being a multiplayer game. And that's kind of how it felt in the pitch, essentially, when they were showing it off. So through the day, I was kind of thinking about it. I was thinking, you know what, I really did like 3D Land, and I think this could be fun. This could be a lot of fun. And I'm kind of warming up to it now. And I just watched a live demo. I just watched IGN's live stream. They are going through different games, and they're pulling them up and bringing people to demo them out. Actual gameplay from the thing. So they came out and did some gameplay, and it looked really good. It looked a lot of fun, especially the Cat Mario power-up, which I kind of brushed off. That's a really cool power-up. It has, the thing I like about it is that it's not kind of it's not a one-trick pony. Like, it doesn't just do one thing, like the Tanuki tail. The Tanuki tail, I guess the Tanuki tail does two things. It kind of, you can spin around and hit something with it, and you can float in the air. But this cat is like really variable. It can climb up walls, it can jump and like dive bomb, it can attack, it can run a lot faster, and it can do something else as well. It's, I can't quite remember. But it has like multiple abilities, and that's something that I like when you take one thing and add a lot to it, make it very dense. It's something like in Skyward Sword. That's why I love the beetle so much. The beetle item in Skyward Sword was really dense because there was so much you could do with it. It was used for scouting. It was used for grabbing stuff. It was used for hitting switches. It was basically used for anything that you could think of. It was used for breaking ropes. It was a really multi-purpose item. And that was the one thing I really liked about it. You could pick up bombs with it. And that's kind of the feel I get with the Cat Mario suit now, having seen it demoed live and having seen it in context. It looks really nice. And visually the game's really appealing. Don't get me wrong, it's a very good looking game. I just would like to see, I would have liked to see a proper 3D Mario game. This is the 3D Mario game that is like a half, it's like a stopgap. And that's how I feel about 3D Land, that it isn't a full 3D Mario game, nor is it a 2D one. It's this weird stopgap, isometric, really fun, but not a true full 3D platforming experience. So, yes, my feelings have changed somewhat. I am more excited for it now, and it is coming out in December, end of this year, so it's a good holiday title, certainly. But my problem is I don't feel like there's anything else, barring Wind Waker, that's coming out between them that I really am drawn to. A lot of stuff was announced for 2014, beginning of 2014. So I am worried about how they will push the holiday season, because there doesn't seem like there is a huge amount that is essential. There's no like, I want that game, I'm grabbing and picking it up. So that's a little thing to think about, I guess. Cool stuff though with 3D World. Let's talk about maybe, you know, Peach is a playable character, and it's funny because when Peach actually gets hit by a Goomba or whatever, she goes and she minimizes like Mario would down to like a smaller version, and just minimize it to this like really small Peach. It was really funny actually on the stream when that happened. And then Toad, they both have their abilities and they're kind of different from each other. I'm not actually quite sure whether you can decide. Actually, yeah, you can. You can decide if you want to play as any of those characters. You don't have to play as Mario in the single player, so you can swap characters around, which is cool. It has a bit of a Mario 2 vibe to it, because I believe those were the 4 playable characters in Super Mario Bros. 2, Mario, Luigi, Toad, and Peach. So it's nice that it has that vibe to it as well. It'd be cool to see some of those enemies return from Mario 2. That would be kind of fun, I think. So talked a lot about that now. I think we should probably move on. What was the next thing that they talked about? Let's have a look. Mario Kart. Mario Kart. Visually very appealing. I don't think we were in any doubt of that, honestly. I think Mario Kart is a game that we expect to look nice. And in HD, it's eye-popping. It's candy. It's nice. I like it. And just looking at it first of all, I was like, really? It just looks the same. It looks the same. And added to that, they're just like, oh, here's the gliders from Mario Kart 7. Oh, here's the bikes from Mario Kart Wii. It just seems like they're being super lazy with Mario Kart. At least the initial like half of the first half of this trailer seemed like that, where it was like, we're just gonna take all these elements from other Mario Kart games and kind of just shit them out because we're too lazy to think of new ideas. And I was like, why do I care? Like, why do I care about this Mario Kart game? I'll still buy it, I'll still play it because it's Mario Kart and I have a lot of fun with it. Online with Mario Kart is a great experience. It's the second most played game on my 3DS, Mario Kart 7. Mainly because of online. Online is a huge component in that game. And I'm sure that online will be just as great in Mario Kart Wii U. Or Mario Kart 8 as they're calling it. But it just feels like they aren't trying. And it's really unfortunate, and that I feel encapsulates the feeling of the whole Direct in general. Nintendo are playing it far too safe, and they aren't taking any risks. They're going back to, I mean, Nintendo always go back to their established franchises, but the thing that I like about Nintendo is that they take their established franchises and they just shake them up so much. They put a new coat of paint on them. You know, Galaxy was an example of that. Wind Waker's an example of that. All these fantastic franchises that they can just mold and shape to their whim and decide like they can all do these different things. And yet it feels like they're going back to the well even more now than ever. And it's just a little bit disappointing. So the second half of the Mario Kart trailer was more interesting, though I don't feel is innovative enough to warrant it being like a complete shake-up of the series. It felt very F-Zero in the way that when you're driving on some of these tracks, you'll be able to go onto the walls and onto the ceilings, and there's also a track where you can like, they'll literally be like this, it'll be like a fucking sandwich where you drive on top and then you go down and by the end you're like underneath the track and then you're going back, and that's what the game's titled after, is like, because it's like a loop-de-loop. It's like it makes the shape of an 8, so you go over one way and come back down the other way and then go back up. And that's why they called it Mario Kart 8, also because Mario Kart 7, so Mario Kart 8, and it's also the shape of a track. I think a lot of people called that, honestly. It's a really easy name, it's a very lazy name, but it fits because it looks like the shape of a racetrack, and it easily follows the number 7, so it kind of played into their lap pretty nicely, I guess. But yeah, all this kind of anti-gravity, they're calling it anti-gravity, where the wheels flip. So they become like hover cars, and you're going on the side or you're going on the ceiling. Cool stuff, but why should I care? Like, I don't feel it really changes things, and I'm kind of worried actually as to how it's going to play. Are they going to make it so you have to drive upside down, or are they going to are they going to shift your perspective as you move? So as you move to the wall, is your perspective going to shift so you're still looking forward? Or are you going to be like driving on the wall and trying to orient yourself that way? I've got a feeling that they probably would make it so that you shift your perspective, so that you look like you're driving on the floor but you're actually driving on the wall. I think that would hopefully be what they're doing, because it seems a bit weird otherwise. It seems a bit brain-bending, mind-boggling. So there's that, yes, Mario Kart 7. And bikes are back, apparently. Bikes and gliders are back, apparently, and you can go underwater, because let's just put all the ideas into one game and not really care. Yeah, it is the annoying thing about that. There's some cool tracks, clearly. There's going to be some new cool tracks, and there's a lot they can do with this idea. I'm not sure how they're going to retrofit the old tracks, because they did a good job with that in Mario Kart 7, where they took the old tracks and added segments to them with gliding and segments with underwater parts. I'm wondering, are they going to retroactively fit some of the levels to add driving on walls and driving on ceilings for this game? Because that would be kind of cool. I would like to see them do that, because if they kind of just shit it out and they're like, oh, here are the old tracks, they're just the same as ever, but we didn't bother changing them, that'd be a disappointment. So I really would like to see that. Mario Kart 8, definitely a purchase, but you know, I want to see more. I want to see more impressive stuff from Mario Kart series. It's just a little bit stale, shall we say, a little bit. But that's coming out in 2014 as well. So no Mario Kart for the holiday. Mario Kart is a big game to push. It's a game that will sell systems, and not having it out for the holiday, I feel like, is an egregious error. You know, I know they want to make the game perfect so that it isn't a bad game when it releases, but their timings haven't worked out here. Their timings really haven't, because it is really gonna be a big game to push for the holiday, and they don't have it ready. So unfortunate. What are you gonna do? Then what do we have? Let's see. Then shit we don't care about. Wii U Party. Yeah, been super interested in that series and have been following it closely since the early days, totally. And we have Wii Fit U, which also I super care about so much, totally care about. Yeah, neither of these games. I mean, come on guys, let's be honest here. We don't give a shit about Wii U Party. We don't give a shit about Wii Fit U, Wii U Fit, whatever they're going to call it. And both of those got like a little bit of time. I'm glad that they didn't spend a lot of time on them. They just gave them a little bit of like a mini kind of gameplay thing from Wii U Party, which, yeah, you know, is probably fun with lots of people, but it's not something that, you know, deserves a full amount of money to be paid for. So maybe if it's like £2 sometime I'll get it, but that's not going to happen. Then there is, yeah, Wii Fit U, which I'm not really caring about here. It, you know, it had some cool mini games though. That was the thing. I remember when they first revealed Wii U, they showed like that cool thing with the woman like standing with the gamepad and like trying to hose the lawn or something. It was just a weird game that seemed kind of cool, but I'm not paying full price for a Wii Fit U game, guys. I mean, come on. So both of those games were shown. I think they were kind of delayed a bit, or said maybe late summer, they're coming out at some time. Yeah, so that's about that for those. I'm not really going to spend any more time on them because it doesn't really warrant it. We're going to look at Art Academy. Apparently there's a new Art Academy being worked on for Wii U, but isn't quite ready yet. It's going to take some time, Iwata said. So they are implementing some new tools into Miiverse, which is cool. Loads of amazing artwork in Miiverse. Miiverse is a fantastic place to go and look at, you know, just hand-drawn stuff, and I am fucking stunned by the stuff people put out there. It's ridiculous how talented these people are on Miiverse and how good these drawings look. And now they're giving colors, they're giving more tools, and I can only see that as a good thing. I think that's going to just drive more artistic stuff on the Miiverse in general, and just make it a cooler place to look around and check stuff out at. So, you know, I'm all for it. Not sure they really needed to mention it that heavily in the conference, but yeah, why not? Might as well give the artists some more tools to work with, and that's what we have. Then let's have a look. Yeah, so they've got yeah, pencils, pastels, that kind of stuff, which is good. Then the third party stuff. So they showed a developer reel, And it's just, you know, we don't really expect at this point there to be third-party stuff. There is the partnership with Sega, which is cool. Sonic Lost Worlds is actually a really good-looking game, and that's probably like, that's a game I'm actually super excited for on Wii U. It's like a Sonic Galaxy game, but they're doing so much interesting stuff with it. It looks really awesome, and there's a distinct 3DS and Wii U version. They're both different. The Wii U one looks really fucking cool, and I haven't been excited for a Sonic game in a long time, but this one has really piqued my interest. It's jumped right to the top of my list. Like, it's high up there, that Sonic game. If you haven't seen any gameplay, go look up gameplay on YouTube, because I am very excited for that game, and it's an interesting idea, and I think it's very Nintendo-like. Like, they seem to be drawing a lot of inspiration from Galaxy, but they're also doing a lot of their own things with it, and it's just a cool creative endeavor, I feel, and I just feel disappointed that Nintendo aren't really pushing that right now with Wii U. But Sonic Lost World is super cool, and definitely one that I'm looking out for, but I think that was shown in this reel. Let me just read them off. So we had Assassin's Creed 4, Batman Arkham Origins, Origins Blackgate, Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate for Vita and 3DS. I'm keeping my eye on that one. That is the one that I'm looking for. I don't care about the normal Origins game, but the Blackgate, keep my eye on that one. Deus Ex, which came out, what, 2 years ago? A year ago? Year and a half? Why do we care? Why do we care? It's a director's cut. It's kind of cool, I guess, but why do we care? Disney Infinity, it's a cool franchise. Just Dance, no one gives a fuck. Rayman Legends, rubbing salt in the wound, why not? Fine. Scribblenauts Unmasked, that would be great if you actually unleashed Scribblenauts, literally released Scribblenauts here in the UK. That would be nice. Maybe Nintendo, maybe you could do that one day, because Scribblenauts, launch title in America for Wii U, still not out in the UK, not out in Europe. What the fuck? So great, thanks for announcing that. Give us the first game first, that would be nice. And then there's Disney Planes, maybe, really? I don't remember that. I'm just reading this from a live blog, so this could be a typo. I don't know. Shin Megami Tensei 4, Shin Megami Tensei, very popular series, very popular, so that, you know, gets a lot of cachet. Skylanders, Swap Force, Splinter Cell Blacklist, Sonic Lost Worlds, I said, and Watch Dogs. And Watch Dogs on Wii U is cool, but I have a PC now. It's probably going to be cheaper on PC, it's probably going to drop in price quicker, and it's going to look better. It's going to play better. So, this is the thing, guys, like, this is the thing, this is the problem that we have with Wii U, is it just isn't hitting those third-party marks. It's bad. It's not like I was expecting anything, you know, let's be honest, I was not expecting third-party support to be phenomenal on this system. I never do. You never do in general. If you expect third-party support to show up in droves on Nintendo system, you're quite clearly delusional, because Nintendo systems are for Nintendo games. Why do I love Nintendo? Because I love Nintendo games. Why do I buy Nintendo systems? Because I love Nintendo's games. I hardly buy third-party titles on Nintendo systems. Hardly. And that's the truth for the majority of people. As, you know, frustrating as that is for third parties, that's just how it is. People don't really invest in third-party games on Nintendo systems. It's just a fact. And, you know, I really don't mind that there's not a huge amount of third-party support, because as long as there's good Nintendo games, I'm fine. The problem that I have is that there aren't enough good Nintendo games, and they haven't revealed enough cool ones yet. So that's just what I'm waiting on. It's unfortunate. Then what do we have? We have another montage, which was all about eShop games this time, with Ballpoint Universe. Not heard of it, but it looked like a really cool indie game. Nintendo actually getting a lot of these indie games that were shown off at Sony's event, like Oddworld. Oddworld was shown off at Sony's event. That's on the Wii U. DuckTales, obviously. Dungeons and Dragons. Chronicles of Mysteria. Coaster Crazy Deluxe, Cloudberry Kingdom, very cool game, I'm interested in that one. Mutant Mudds Deluxe, obviously very successful in 3DS, the original Mutant Mudds. Some other random shit, Shovel Knight, which is an awesome game, it was a Kickstarted game, that's there. So yeah, Shovel Knight, sorry I just got interrupted there, so I had to cut the video. Very cool game, and I think that's about it. That's about it for the independent stuff, but, so here's the thing. Nintendo actually have a really good platform for indie developers. They have an open publishing system, which means you can self-publish. And the eShop allows you to price as you feel is relevant. It allows you to have sales when you want to. Like, for example, I think Trine 2 is like 50% off now on the eShop. There are other games which have been permanently reduced. There's sales with Virtual Console games. There's some good stuff on the eShop, and it's a really good environment right now. There just aren't enough independent developers developing stuff for it, and I think that they should. I think they should try and get more of their stuff on there, because it's a really thriving platform, and there's not a huge amount on there, so there's not a lot of competition, which means if you get a hit game, more people will buy it, and you'll probably make more money than you would on Steam, because Steam is such a crowded environment full of a huge amount of competition. So I think that there is a good precedent to be set for saying people should put more of their games onto the eShop, and yeah, I would like to see that. So cool bunch of indie games going on here, and I'm looking forward to quite a few of them. Yeah, Shovel Knight and Cloudberry Kingdoms most of all, and then I'm kind of interested in Ballpoint Universe. Look cool, so very good. Next up was Wind Waker HD. Of course, this was going to be here. No chance that we were going to have the new Zelda, because as we've said before, Zelda takes its time. It's goddamn time. And Wind Waker HD looked nice. You know, it's not going to set the world on fire, but it is a gorgeous game. It's a fantastic looking game, and it is an excellent Zelda game, and it's one that lots of people probably haven't played. At least new gamers probably have not had experience with Wind Waker, so it's a good thing to introduce to a different generation. And you know, they've added some cool features. We don't have any news about extra dungeons or that kind of stuff, but I really like this Tingle Tuner thing. It's not actually the Tingle Tuner, but they've basically repurposed it so that you have the Tingle Tuner availability, but it's called like a Tingle Bottle or something. You get the bottle, you write something in it, like you post on Miiverse, and you can like put a picture in it from the camera that's in the game, attach that, throw that onto Miiverse, and then send the bottle out to sea. And someone else in some other game will find the bottle and open it up, and there'll be a message in the bottle. I think that's a really cool idea. And you know, integrating it with Miiverse nicely, I think that's just really neat. And I think, you know, it's a really like it engenders excitement, like when you're like combing the beach in Wind Waker and you suddenly come across this bottle and you're like, ooh, I wonder what's inside, I wonder what someone's written, I wonder if they've like included a picture of a boss or something. And you go and you open it and you read through, and I think that's really, really cool, and I would love to see them do more stuff like that, integrating Miiverse into games in more interesting and imaginative ways. I think that is probably one of the most imaginative implementations of Miiverse we've ever seen. And it just shows, you know, you can do really creative, cool stuff with that kind of social forum. It's a really fun possibility, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of that going on. I want to see more of that, and I want to see more developers try and incorporate Miiverse into games, because it is such a cool feature, and I don't see myself using it right now because there's no games to be using it with. But as soon as those come along, then, you know, jump straight back in there. You know, you can go on there and ask people what to do on Miiverse. It's really good. You can get answers within like seconds. You don't need to fucking trawl over internet forums. You can literally just sit there on your gamepad, open up Miiverse, and have a look there, and someone will probably be playing at the same time as you, and will probably be able to help you out. It's a cool system. Very cool system. And I'm sure that, you know, they didn't actually announce, there was something I was expecting. I was expecting a lot more of these 3DS, Wii U integration announcements, where they would say, Miiverse is coming to 3DS, and it's coming, you know, end of August or something. And they haven't said that yet. They haven't said that Miiverse is coming to 3DS, but they need to unify these platforms, and you know, that's something that in the future is going to be very helpful for them, because when you have that kind of system of tying accounts together and tying systems together, you can take Virtual Console games and have GBA games across both, and have N64 games across both, and have Game Boy games across both, and have NES games across both. And I want that. I really do want that, but they haven't talked about it enough, and they haven't pushed it enough, and they haven't even mentioned it in this press conference. or this Nintendo Direct. So it's just, come on, give us something here. Give us something in terms of that integration, especially with the Virtual Console stuff. But yeah, no, Miiverse, very cool and a good integration. There's also some other stuff, Wind Waker, I believe that you can make the sail go quicker in the wind, like it enables faster travel, which is certainly something people wanted, because I know there's this like speed running tactic where you open and close the sail really quickly in order to gain more speed, because apparently it's quite slow in Wind Waker going with a normal sail. So anything to improve that experience and make it faster and less frustrating, it's cool. It's good that they've implemented those kind of things. Now we're just waiting on the dungeon announcements, and hopefully they do. Please. Hopefully they've implemented new dungeons, but who knows? Who knows? So yes, Wind Waker HD, a cool game, coming out August, I believe. Then we move on to Wonderful 101. The two games that have been talked about so much. They've been talked about in like every single Wii U thing. Anything Wii U that Nintendo does. Pikmin 3 and Wonderful 101. Constantly talked about. No Pikmin 3 talk today, but Wonderful 101 had a bit of a focus. And, you know, this game is one of the big games we've been waiting for from Platinum. New IP, it looks cool. It's not something I'm super interested in, but looking at the footage that we had and the new implementation with the gamepad, it seemed like a really neat idea. You basically draw on the gamepad and you create a sword or a weapon out of that, and you can basically dedicate, you have 100 like people in your party or whatever it is, and you can dedicate a specific number of those guys to become the weapon, and the more people you put into it, the larger the weapon becomes, the more powerful it becomes. And so you literally draw or trace it out on the gamepad how you want it to look, and it will appear that way on the screen. So that's kind of a cool implementation. It's nothing really super innovative. It's nothing really that's like, wow, I really need a gamepad for this. But, you know, at least they're using the gamepad for something, as opposed to just resignating it to a map. Or just designating is the word I'm looking for. Resignating. The fuck? Yeah, instead of designating it to just like standard map. You know, I'm all for that. I'm all for that. And that is coming out very soon, I think. It is August 23rd in Europe. So, yes, Pikmin and that on the way, shall we say. July 26th is Pikmin in Europe, and then this is the 23rd. So we've got our big game for July and our big game for August already set up. So at least the Wii U will maybe gain some traction there. We're hoping, at least. So, Wonderful 101, cool game, I like it. And then we have what is probably, I would say this is the biggest disappointment. I say it's a really weird feeling, because I'm happy, but I'm super fucking disappointed. I'm super bummed, but I'm also happy. And it's a weird thing. So essentially what I'm talking about is Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, I think it's called, the subtitle. It's not Donkey Kong Country Returns Tropical Freeze, it's just Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. And as we all know, Retro Studios, developers behind Metroid Prime and developers behind Donkey Kong Country Returns, have not yet showed their hand as to what the game it is that they're developing for Wii U. And a lot of people are like, it's going to be Metroid, it's going to be something visually stunning that's going to wow us on Wii U. Or it's going to be a new IP and a full adventure, like third person or first person adventure. It's going to wow us. And it's Donkey Kong. And, you know, don't get me wrong, Donkey Kong is a really good game. I'm playing it on 3DS right now. I'm playing Donkey Kong Country Returns. I'm having so much fun with it. It's super challenging. It's really cool. It's so well designed. Level design's fantastic in that game, and it has so much character. It's so much fun. And it's just kind of, you know, it has that satisfaction, that platforming satisfaction that I really look for in a game. And it's a really good game. Donkey Kong Country Returns is great. But I didn't want Retro to make another Donkey Kong. I didn't want them to do another one of those. I wanted them to go back and do something different. I wanted a new IP. I personally wouldn't have minded if they'd done Metroid, because one, Metroid would have looked fucking gorgeous, and two, they could have done some really interesting stuff with the gamepad. Like super cool stuff with the scanner and all that stuff. And I think that it would just have been a good thing for the system, a really hardcore title to pull in the people who are on the edge, to pull in the people who are looking for that Metroid-type experience. And even though I probably wouldn't have gotten it myself, probably wouldn't have owned the game, I might have decided to dive in. It depends on what it was like. And maybe I would have done. But they didn't. They didn't. And they left us with a bit of a sour taste, honestly, because there has been so much speculation as to what Retro are doing, and to just hear that it's a sequel to Donkey Kong Country Returns is just a real kick in the nuts, honestly. I don't feel happy about it. It is really, really disappointing. But then again, I know this game's going to be great. I know the Donkey Kong game will be fantastic because Retro are great and they know what they're doing and they can make a fantastic Donkey Kong game. They've already proved that. And I have zero doubt in my mind that this game will be, you know, anything but fantastic because I know it will be. But I wish it wasn't Donkey Kong. I wish that they had done something else, and it really just, it feels too safe. It feels far too safe. Just as a whole, this conference, this Direct, I've been saying it this whole time, Nintendo were just too safe. And it's not going to cut it. It really isn't going to cut it anymore. We need cool, interesting announcements to really get people interested, get people excited for the system. And, you know, Wii U is doing fucking terribly. It's really on the ropes. And we need something big, and we're not getting it. So it's so frustrating. So frustrating. But it's a cool game, Donkey Kong. I'm probably more inclined to buy Donkey Kong than I am to buy Metroid. I just don't know, guys. So, anyway, now we move on past Donkey Kong, and we're going to move on to a game which is much more appealing, and a game which we already know about. And this is the problem. You know, there are cool, hardcore experiences coming, but the problem is we know about them already, and that's where I feel like there's not enough excitement around them, and around E3 in general. So Xenoblade's sequel, X, the game from Monolith Soft, this game looks fucking great. Oh, looks fucking great. But here's my problem. It's not coming out this year. It's coming out next year. All these games next year. We don't need this year. We need them this year. They aren't getting any games this year. But X, look guys, I fucking love Xenoblade. This game looks like Xenoblade, like, turned up to 67, like, over, like, through the roof and up through the atmosphere and through space and fucking skewering Pluto on its way out of the Milky Way down to fucking a different galaxy. Literally, this game looks stellar. Jump in mechs and just fly around an open world. If there's no restrictions on those mechs and you can literally fly anywhere in that huge expanse, I'm mind blown, like fucking Christ. It looks great, you know, as long as it retains, you know, the fantastic gameplay in Xenoblade and it retains, you know, it's stunning. It's the game to watch out for. That is the one. That's the hardcore title. That's the one you want. And that's the one I want. And I'm really excited for it. So yeah. Fucking giant dinosaurs, giant mechs. We've got all the stuff. We've got everything. That's all we need. And unfortunate that it is far out. It is next year. We want stuff sooner. We can't have it sooner because Nintendo polish their games, and that's just how they are. It's unfortunate, but it is the truth, and it's a fact. So, Xenoblade 2 or X, it's still called X. I don't know why they haven't named it yet. It's really obvious that it's a follow-up. It's by Monolith Soft. It's the same universe. It's clearly a very similar game. It's an open-world RPG, and yeah, it's pretty much confirmed. But I don't know. I guess they decided, well, we'll just keep calling it X because we want to be secretive and stupid. Whatever. And then, ladies and gentlemen, okay. So I've been pretty negative. I've been very negative, I feel, overall. But that's because I love Nintendo and I want them to do better and I want them to do well. And I like seeing them succeed and I like seeing good games and fun experiences from them. And I just didn't get that for a lot of the conference. but there is always a silver lining. And ladies and gentlemen, the silver lining is fucking Smash Brothers. Because, yes, yes and yes. We knew Smash Brothers was coming, so I knew that we were going to get something really fucking great this E3. But I wasn't sure what form it was going to be in, how long the trailer would be, how much of a reveal there would be, and I actually got a lot more than I expected. I didn't expect so much to be revealed, and once they started revealing stuff, I was almost like, hey, why don't you reveal more? You should do more. But then I kind of realized, you know, there is the Smash Brothers dojo, and they do like, Sakurai likes releasing things very, very slowly and piecemeal, and it builds the excitement, it builds the hype over the months until Smash Brothers is out. But they opened the floodgates, kind of. I wouldn't say they... Okay, maybe they opened like a side door to the floodgates, and a lot of water spilled out, but not a huge amount. A lot, like a good amount. So the side door to the floodgates were opened, and we got the new Smash Brothers trailer, which looks really fucking great. Certainly my favourite thing that I saw, my favourite new thing, because we'd already seen the X game, and we'd already seen some other stuff that, you know, was coming, like Wind Waker. But this was the first brand new footage of Smash Brothers, 3DS and Wii U, and I do like the fact that they are distinguishing the two versions visually. I think it's a smart thing to do. I think it makes getting both of them as opposed to either of them more appealing. I think it's really cool that they have this thing where they're using handheld franchises to have specific stages on the 3DS version, and they're using more console franchises to have specific stages on the Wii U version. Because like we saw on the 3DS version, there's a stage based on Spirit Tracks. It looks really cool. It's like just like the DS version of Spirit Tracks, and you're riding on a train, and like fucking cel-shaded Link is standing there as the guy who's running the train, and you're just fighting on the train. It's really cool. I think that was a very awesome stage reveal. And I do like that they're cel-shading it somewhat and making it look different, because it does make the gap between them, you know, it makes them distinguished from one another. The thing you know, as cool as PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale was in terms of Vita crossplay, you know, it's basically the same game. And I think that there are going to be more differences and much more variety between the 3DS and Wii U version, but they will still speak to each other, which is a cool thing about it, is that as many kind of miniature details and differences as they will have, they'll still speak to each other, and that you'll still be able to transfer between them and stuff like that, which is really cool. Or at least that's what I'm thinking they're going to do. They haven't actually officially announced anything to do with 3DS controlling, like as a controller for Wii U, or whether you'll be able to move stages across or stuff like that, or move save files across. If you're able to do that, that would be neat, like what they do with Monster Hunter. But, you know, I'm sure that will come. I'm sure that they'll do that kind of thing, and Sakurai is usually on point with those kind of things. So Smash Brothers, fucking fantastic. Look, I mean, you know, the villager revealed as a new character. If you haven't seen the the developer, because Nintendo have been putting a lot of videos out on their YouTube channel. I've been watching a few of them. I need to get back and watch a few more of them, because there's lots of new stuff they're putting out. But they did a like 8 or 9 minute video on Smash Brothers. They talked a huge amount about the villager and his moves and what they thought and how they developed him as a character, and you know, all the different kind of things he has at his disposal. They talk in depth about Mega Man, and they even talk about the Wii Fit woman, the Wii Fit trainer, which was the surprise announcement at the Nintendo showcase to the media briefing, which was a bit of a disappointing surprise announcement. But when I think about it, like, a lot of people are getting like up in arms, like, oh, the Wii Fit trainer woman shouldn't be in Smash Brothers, that's a bad decision. Come the fuck on, guys. Smash Brothers is one of the stupidest, silliest games on the planet. Like, there is so much silly, stupid shit that goes on in Smash Brothers. The Wii Fit woman fits perfectly in that universe. Absolutely perfectly. And I am actually very excited to try her out and see how, you know, what weird stuff she does, because it just seems really silly. Like, it's a completely out of the blue announcement, and I'm very positive on it, honestly. I think that it's fun, and I think that is the core of Smash Brothers. There are people who like playing it competitively, and I respect that greatly. However, for me, and for, what the hell, my phone just fucking scared the living shit out of me. For me and the people I play with, we just want to have a fun time, honestly. We want to just dick around and use all these crazy items and just play on the fun stages and use all the characters. And I think that it fits perfectly. So I'm not, you know, I don't care. I honestly don't care that the Wii Fit Trainer Woman is in there. I think that's the funniest thing, and I also think people are overreacting far too much. Just fucking, dude, why are you taking Smash Brothers like that seriously? Like, come on, get the stick out your ass, guys, seriously. So that was pretty funny. That was a cool reveal. Although it wasn't really anything that we wanted. But, you know, why not? Sakurai's fucking crazy. He does what he wants. So yeah, Mega Man revealed. Mega Man, oh my god. I love their implementation of Mega Man. He's literally the NES Mega Man. But, you know, they visually upgraded him. They've made him look right. And he fits perfectly. Mega Man is such a perfect character for Smash Brothers. He just integrates so well into that universe. And the way that they've given him the Mega Buster as his main form of attack, and that he uses the slide, and the animation is like so similar to the NES version, and yet it's using this, you know, 3D model. It's so cool. I really like how they've dealt with Mega Man. And lots of people have been crying for ages, like, bring Mega Man to Smash Brothers. You know, you brought Sonic, you brought Snake. Mega Man is, you know, has a huge history on Nintendo consoles, and should be there, and now he is. And I'm excited. I'm very excited. I'm so excited about the dojo, though. The dojo was one of the best things about Brawl, because every day Sakurai would hop on. Probably not Sakurai, probably one of his minions would hop on. As I was saying before my battery died, yeah, they always update the dojo every day. Some days it'll be like a stage, which is really cool. Some days it'll just be like, the banana is in the game, it's an item. And you're like, oh, that's still cool, but oh. And then some days they'd be like, a new challenger approaches and it's a new character, and those are the days, those are the good days when that news comes out. I think it would be really cool to have like a recurring feature in Nintendo Directs, where every single time they have a Nintendo Direct, they're like, and now for Smash Brothers Corner of the Month. And then you go over to Sakurai, and Sakurai's like, and this month we reveal this character. That would be really funny. It'd also be really lame if they executed it like I described, but that'd be cool. Like, I think that could be a nice recurring feature of Nintendo Directs. And get it more engaged, because then you could have actual video footage direct on the video. Video footage direct on the video. I really fucked that sentence up. Instead of just like screenshots posted on the dojo. Although, you know, you can post video stuff on the dojo as well, you know, whatever you want to do. But that is it. That is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the dojo reveals and all the stuff coming up. But I'm very happy with how Smash Brothers was handled in general. I think they gave us enough of a taster of it that we're all super excited, and you know, they've left that kind of that desire to find out more about the game. And you know, Smash Brothers is a good, solid, hardcore franchise, but as I've said, it's probably going to be 2014, probably end of 2014 most likely, if not 2015. Smash Brothers takes a long time, and I don't want Sakurai to rush it, because if he rushes it, then we end up with a bad game, and we don't want a bad game. We want a fantastic fucking Smash Brothers game. And that's what I hope they're doing. That's what I hope they're working on and building towards. So, Smash Brothers to close it out, dropping the mic. I thought it was a fantastic way to end the Direct. Of course, would have liked to see more. But that's it. Nintendo fans are incessant. They always want more. They always want more. But I think it's justified in this case. I honestly do think it's justified, because there just wasn't quite enough. There wasn't enough to pack that punch. And they made a good decision, I feel, by not having a press conference. Because if they did have a press conference, they would have been roasted. People would have flayed them for this, because they didn't put enough good stuff out. So I do think it was a good idea to do the Nintendo Direct, and there was still cool stuff from it. So I am happy. I am happy. I'm just disappointed that it was safe. It was so safe, and I want more adventurous stuff from Nintendo. I want more out of the box creativity, and I'm sure it will happen sometime, but not today, and unfortunately not for this E3. Unfortunate. But there you go, those are my thoughts on Nintendo overall. It was a good conference, not a fantastic one, and we found out a lot of new information. I have no idea how long I've been talking for. I'm just going to guess that it's a stupidly long time because my battery died. I've been just going on, I've been taking my time through it because I like to take my time through Nintendo stuff and kind of comb through it and make sure I get my bearings. And that's that. But thank you for watching, thank you if you've stuck through this entire thing. Tell me in the comments below, what did you think of Nintendo's press conference? What did you expect? Did you want anything else from it? Like, you know, what did you think Retro were going to be working on? And you know, did you want a fully 3D Mario? Are you content with continuing the 3D franchise, the 3D Land franchise, and seeing how that goes? I don't know what your thoughts are because they have not been written yet. So it is up to you to write them down below in the comments. Of course, leave a like if you enjoyed watching this video, if it was informative, if it gave you some kind of bearing on my thoughts, which I hope it did, because that's kind of my aim here, is to give you my thoughts on the entire thing. And that's going to be that. Thank you very much for watching, guys. E3 continues through this week. There may be more announcements to come. Who knows? You know, people can surprise us still. There might be some interesting stuff popping up. So keep an eye out on the channel. I may update with some new stuff if it's interesting enough and warrants a discussion. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching all my E3 stuff. I know it's not that many people that watch it, you know, a smaller portion of my main audience, but I really do appreciate it. I really do appreciate you guys sticking through and watching this stuff, because I really enjoy doing this, and you know, it's something that I would love to do in the future. I have aspirations of going into games journalism and going to game criticism and writing and the games media in general. So this kind of thing and getting my way into, you know, talking about it openly and talking about it critically is always good for me. So it's a good kind of platform. But that's that. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video, whatever that so happens to be. Goodbye.